This is Standing Watch. And now, Evangelist Norbert Link.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome back to our Standing Watch program. Is the destruction of Israel imminent? Why would I even ask that question? Is it even possible that the state of Israel could be destroyed? Let me start by saying that the world is ganging up on Israel right now. And pretty soon Israel will be left alone with no true friends. Even today, the friends, in quotation marks, aren't really friends at all, as I will show you. Let me begin with an article by Palestine Chronicle, dated February 2. Ireland is in talks with other EU members who are either critical of Israel or are calling for a Palestinian state. Ireland, Belgium, Spain, and a few other EU countries were some of the early voices to join international criticism of the Israeli war in Gaza starting on October 7. The negative and the hostile attitude of Europeans in particular towards Israel is quite telling, and so is the attitude of the Biden administration towards Israel. Israel's 365 News wrote on February 1, the Biden administration is considering a plan to unilaterally recognize a Palestinian state. Unilaterally. Some inside the Biden administration believe that unilateral recognition of a Palestinian state should be the first step in talks to resolve the Israeli-Palestinian conflict instead of the last. In other words, let's get a Palestinian state recognized first, and then we can talk about the end of the war. Netanyahu's right-wing and religious coalition is firmly against establishing a Palestinian state. 66% of Jewish respondents said they oppose such a move. But British Foreign Secretary David Cameron said that the UK was considering recognizing a Palestinian state. But to recognize unilaterally a Palestinian state would burn all bridges with Israel. And so Netanyahu made very clear what he is going to do. The New York Times wrote on January 28. Netanyahu says he is ready to do it alone when it comes to the war in Gaza, as President Biden is accused of sending mixed messages on the U.S. stance over the conflict. Biden officials have reportedly considered slowing down or halting weapon deliveries to Israel to try to pressure the nation into scaling back its offensive in Gaza. And so Netanyahu spelled out the conditions for the end of the war. According to Israel's 365 News, dated February 5, Netanyahu said on Sunday that the country's core demands for ending the war against Hamas in Gaza are the following. The essential goal is, first of all, the elimination of Hamas. To achieve this goal, three things are needed, he said. The first requirement is the collapse of Hamas battalions. And after the battalions are destroyed, the Israeli military will have to carry out clearance operations to prevent Hamas from rebuilding its terrorist army. Finally, Netanyahu said Israel will need to complete the neutralization of the underground tunnels. The Israeli Defense Forces will not withdraw from Gaza before it achieves the goals of eliminating Hamas, returning all 136 hostages, and ensuring that Hamas never again constitutes a threat to the Jewish state, Netanyahu said. Israeli National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir leveled criticism at US President Joe Biden, saying Donald Trump would have been better for Israel during the current war. Instead of giving us his full backing, Biden is busy with giving humanitarian aid and fuel to Gaza, which goes to Hamas, he charged. And so Netanyahu said that a recent proposal by Hamas for ending the war was illusional. Blinken, however, said there is room for negotiation, but the parties are so far apart. Where is that room for negotiation? But Israel's concern regarding the Biden administration is well founded. Listen to this article by Israel Today, dated February 5. The administration of US President Joe Biden has taken Israeli law into its own hands by using an executive order that compelled Israeli banks to freeze the assets of at least 4 Jewish residents of Judea and Samaria, so-called the West Bank. In the executive order issued last Thursday, the White House said it was imposing sanctions against persons undermining peace, security, and stability in the West Bank. Notably, the order only targets Jews. The assets of senior Palestinian Authority leaders are left untouched. Israel's finance minister responded by insisting that Israel is not a banana republic of the United States, and promised to take action to prevent the banks from harming Israeli citizens. And so it should become very clear that the Biden administration is really not a true friend of Israel, and things will get worse. And so I'm coming now to the question I asked at the beginning of this program: is the destruction of Israel coming? LiveSide News wrote on February 2. Colonel Douglas McGregor has warned that Israel's current operation of expelling or killing the population in Gaza is enraging the Arab nations in the region. McGregor believes this will culminate in the destruction of Israel, with war easily expanding globally, even onto American soil, and the real possibility of nuclear exchanges. Though the leaders of Middle East Arab nations such as Egypt, Jordan, Syria, Saudi Arabia, Lebanon, and Turkey want to avoid a regional war due to what the consequences would be for their nation's infrastructure and population, their own positions are in danger due to the possibility of popular uprisings among their citizens, the colonel explained. The populations in these regions, particularly the Muslim Arabs and the Turks, are so angry and so enraged they are ready to fight, regardless of what the costs are, to destroy Israel. As a result, increasingly across the Middle East, everyone who is in power and authority is privately saying, we will no longer tolerate this Israeli state, and they are moving towards a state of war across the region, which will culminate, I think, the colonel said, in the destruction of Israel, and I do not think we can stop it. Iran has an enormous arsenal of missiles, he said. These missiles can attack with great precision. These include hypersonic missiles, which can hit targets at sea, and there remains no way to shoot them down or defend against them. Hezbollah has substantial facilities and concentrations of people in Mexico. So do Islamists who are Sunni Muslims, he recalled. With all the recent waves of illegal immigrants pouring across the Mexican border in recent years, we don't even know who has actually entered the United States. And thus, the greatest danger, he said, is that the Israelis will respond with the use of a nuclear weapon, particularly as they watch their cities, Tel Aviv, Haifa, and others, largely annihilated by these arsenals of missiles. And if that were to happen, I think that would have catastrophic consequences for Israel and the world, far worse than anything we have seen thus far. Now, McGregor has been a controversial figure with very extreme positions, but he has also been right and is right on other issues. For instance, he has correctly stated that Ukraine will lose its war with Russia. And we read that prior to the downfall of the state of Israel during the Great Tribulation, Israel will receive a wound, assumingly a military defeat. And they will actually go to Germany for help, asking for help, but they won't get that help. And we also read that some Arab nations and Germany will come together with the goal of destroying Israel. And some of the nations I have recently mentioned in this article, I just quoted, belong to that conspiracy, that confederation. They say we have to wipe Israel off the map. And so what we are seeing right now are definitely developments towards these biblically prophesied events. We have prepared a free booklet, the book of Zechariah. Just ask for a free copy, because this booklet goes into all these aspects and many more, which I have addressed today. And until next time, this is Norbert Link for the Standing Bush program.
Standing Watch is a presentation by The Church of the Eternal God, P.O. Box 270519, San Diego, California 92198. More information is also available at our website, eternalgod.org.